Hi there, everybody. For those of you in Canada, happy Canada Day. Or I hope you had a happy Canada Day. That was on Saturday, so you'll probably be seeing this much after that. And hopefully, y'all, if you though, let's start that one all over again. Hi there. If you're in Canada, I hope you had a good, happy Canada Day. If you're in the States, I hope you are looking forward to or already had a good 4th of July. So I hope your July is going off really well. And we're in the second half of the year. So let's make this a good second half. Today I've got a quote that I've used with my classes before, and it has sometimes confused my students. So I thought I'd give it a few moments to chat with you about it here. This one comes from Sarah Gottfried. She's an MD and on something I'm not sure even where I got this from, but I just checked it and she is an MD, but that's all I know about her. The quote, "We do not think our way into a new way of living. We live our way into a new way of thinking." Now, you might want to take a look at it in the post because that might sort of be confusing a bit because you're thinking, but of course I have to think about it. And it's like, no, not exactly, not really. Because in a sense, the example I like to give most is New Year's resolutions. As what happens is we think about what we want to do. Oh, I think this year I'm going to lose the 50 pounds or get fit or, whatever it is that you're going to do. And we tend to think about it. But generally speaking, you know how long New Year's resolutions tend to last until some other action comes up. So if you wanted to change a behavior and all you needed to do was think about changing the behavior, most of us would be really successful at this, right? Because you would be thinking about how I want to do this, and you get up in the morning and think about how I want to do this, et cetera, et cetera. But you actually have to take action and do something. So the idea, and I've mentioned this before, is when you're trying to start a new habit, do something small. Like, if you want to get in the habit of walking or going outside and exercising or running or whatever, lay out your running clothes, do something small to get you closer to where you want to be. So that the more you start doing things, you'll start recognizing that this is becoming a habit, and you'll start making those thoughts that will get you further into doing those things. Okay? Again, that probably sounds really confusing, but it's more, again, it's the example I used relatively recently about moving, and then you have to actually do. So if you're trying to go from work to your new house, you actually have to do the driving and make those turns and consciously think about what you're doing. You can't, to get to your new house, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to get in my car and I'm just going to go and let your mind just wander, because you're going to end up at the same place that you used to do it and not the place you wanted to go. Right? Does that make sense? So that you're actually having to give some conscious thought to what you do and the choices you make if you want to make any of those changes that you keep telling yourself or telling other people that you want to make. You can see this more easily, I think, when you're watching what other people say and do. How many people will say they want to do something, and you're watching them and thinking, it's not going to happen. Because what you're doing is you're looking at that other person's behaviors. And so you're watching the behaviors, you're watching what they do, and you recognize that they're not going to follow through with what they're saying. And so their saying is connected to what they're thinking, because they're saying, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But they've got to actually put the actions behind their words in order to make that thing shift, right? So what I would suggest that you think about is when you make a statement about you want to be a better student, you want to get more fit, you want to, lose 5 pounds, whatever it is. When somebody is listening to you say that, are they thinking that you're going to follow through? Or are they basically thinking to themselves, it's not going to happen? So the question then is, do you essentially put your money where your mouth is, so to speak, and do you follow through and do something about those particular behaviors, or you just talk about it and never do anything? And then 6 months, a year, 2 years later, you keep coming by and saying, nothing ever changes because you don't do anything about it. You can think about it all you want, but if you don't do anything and put some action into those words, nothing's going to change. You've got to do your way into the thinking instead of thinking your way into the doing. Okay? I don't know if there's another example I can give, but I suspect that the easiest thing to do is just think of some of the people that keep saying that they're going to do something. Maybe they might be your spouse, your children, whatever, and you get on them all the time. You kind of like those people you nag, and you say they're going to do this, they're going to do this, they're going to do this, and they say they're going to do this, but they don't. Now, don't nag, because it's not going to work, because all it does is basically nagging doesn't get anything done. It just makes the relationship between the two people, the naggee and the nagger, get really upset. Because people, you don't like being nagged, I doubt. So, don't nag anybody else. We can talk about that at some other point. But hopefully that will make sense. And hopefully it gives you something to think about. And maybe you can think about what you want to do today to get started to go into where you want to be, especially now that we're in the last 6 months, the sort of like the beginning of a new quarter, the beginning of the new half year. What would you like to have a change that you can start doing something today? Okay. So that's my challenge to you today, is to think about how you want to do it and see what actions you can take to actually get it going. So hopefully you have a good week. Hopefully you're not getting too smothered by the Canadian fires if you're in that part of the country, and we will chat with you later. Bye.